Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this free partner webinar, Strategies to Boost Income and Cut Costs, taking a page from the playbook of top self-storage operators. Today's content was developed and sponsored by 4A Self-Storage Affiliate Group. I'll be your moderator today. My name is Terry Lanza. I'm the editorial director for Inside Self Storage. Today's presentation will be recorded and archived at insideselfstorage.com/webinars. It will be available for your enjoyment within about 3 business days. To access the webinar, you'll simply visit that URL you see on your screen and select the webinar title. You are welcome to ask questions of our presenters today. Please send your questions using the QA feature located on your screen. We will have a Q&A period at the end of the webinar, so you can submit your questions at any time. We'll reserve them for the end, and our presenters will answer as many questions as they can for you. Not all questions may be answered due to time constraints, so if you have a question that isn't answered during the Q&A session, please feel free to email it to webinars@vpico.com. You see that email address up on your screen. We will go ahead and forward that question to our presenters on your behalf for you. Now let me tell you a little bit about what you're going to learn in today's webinar. In a struggling economy and competitive environment, it's critical that line. Now, facility owners can boost their income and reduce operating costs by taking advantage of key strategies used by the industry's top operators. So during today's informative webinar, you are going to learn how to establish new profit centers in your self-storage business, do-it-yourself marketing for little to no cost, how to achieve bulk buying power through group memberships, strategies for building and maintaining a more effective management staff, and how to generally make more money through your self-storage operation. Now today's sponsor is 4A Self-Storage Affiliate Group. Norfolk, Virginia-based 4A Self-Storage Management Group is a full-service management and development company incorporated in Virginia in 1962. The company is a Nicholson Companies affiliate, and it provides management consulting services to the owners of more than 50 facilities throughout 10 eastern states. Most of the company's management accounts do take advantage of brand recognition offered using the 4A Self-Storage trade name. And we have 2 presenters today. I'm happy to introduce them to you now. Tom Nicholson III is the president of 4A. He joined his father in the business in 1979 after earning a 4-way degree in business, English, biology, and psychology. Since that time, he has continuously been involved in the development, design, construction, and management of self-storage facilities. Also presenting today is Scott Steyer. He is a district manager of 4A Self-Storage Management Group, where he handles the company's marketing and affiliate programs and is a member of the operations department. He joined the company in 2009 after overseeing a top self-storage operator in the Northeast Florida area for more than 8 years. And it is now my distinct pleasure to turn the floor over to our presenters. Welcome.
Thank you, Terry, for that kind introduction. This is Tom, and I'm going to begin, folks, so we'll plunge right on in. It seems to be the American way that we like things big and the same. We buy our groceries from giant stores like Costco, where every store is laid out the same. We shop for hardware and household goods at Target, and we prefer to eat at the Cheesecake Factory, where we can count on consistency of the product. Most of our industries are dominated by the giants. And although the 40-year-old self-storage industry is a little bit of a Johnny-come-lately to the big franchise party, it's happening with us too, folks. Interestingly, in terms of raw numbers of facilities expressed as a percentage of the total facilities nationwide, the large operators still control less than 30% of our industry, a statistic that has remained remarkably consistent. Nevertheless, the large operators, notably Public Storage, but others as well, have moved into a dominant position in recent years when it comes to facility performance. let's face it, they've got some enormous advantages. Their facilities are typically well located and well branded, both critical to the perception of the American consumer. They have hiring and training departments. They have massive buying power, which enables them to control operating costs. And while they typically are not the low-price operator on rates, they have the ability to do whatever is necessary to obtain customers via rate manipulation. Likewise, in recent years, they've spent the time and money necessary to take a dominant and visible position on the Internet search engines, which, unless you've been living in a cave for the last decade or so, you know is where most of our customers are coming from these days. The goal of today's seminar is to arm you guys, the independent operators, with some tools and tactics that will enable you to compete on a more level playing field with the large operators. Since Terry kind of covered the outline, Dan, we'll just skip the next slide and turn it right over to Scott. Scott is going to talk to you guys for a bit about some of our Internet strategies that work very well. Go ahead, Scott.
Thanks, Tom. All right, to get started, we're going to explore online marketing platforms, and to do so, we're going to need to discuss a few things first. By now, many of you have been advised to dump your Yellow Page ads. There's a lot of third-party marketing companies out there that are looking at the money that you pay yearly to the Yellow Pages, and they're giving you advice to dump these ads, but they're not measuring your results. Well, at 4A, we recognize that the Yellow Page ads are facing extinction. It's not the case everywhere yet. Let's take a look at these stats that we compiled for our Hampton Roads phone directory in 2011. You're going to see for the year we received nearly 5,800 phone calls. We had over 950 rentals out of the phone book, and our cost to close the sale on those came out to $93 a rental. Just a little bit from now, we're going to take a look and see how this compares to other methods of online advertising. And before we get into the online marketing, we're going to take a look at SEO for just a moment. SEO, or better known as search engine optimization, is a popular buzzword for a technique that makes sites more visible. By ensuring tags and keywords are placed on your website accurately and strategically, your site will become optimized for search engines to find your site and the content within it. Organic results, which are non-sponsored and non-local brick-and-mortar listings, keep getting pushed further down, with local search and sponsored results gaining more prominent placement. So getting your website ranked at the top in search results through SEO can take months, and it could be met with variable results. Because of the way search engines continually change, sites must be constantly optimized to be effective. Some SEO companies are charging up to $500 a month to optimize your site and help place it high in the rankings, but they offer no guarantee on exact placement. Larger websites are inherently more visible than sites with less content and activity. Is this the most effective way to spend your advertising budget? An alternative might be to join one of the larger companies that offer a presence on their website, usually for a fair fee, but perhaps you need to consider search engine marketing. Now, the large operators out there are bidding on literally thousands of keywords a day, and they take a prominent position in the search results. Let's take a look at this screenshot here. This is using the keyword self-storage Atlanta, and it shows in the sponsor listings right there at the top, you got Extra Space, you got Metro Storage, Uncle Bob's. All three of those are huge operators with literally hundreds or thousands of self-storage facilities throughout the United States. But right there with them is Madison Self-Storage. They've got 2 storage facilities in Georgia, yet they're ranked right there at the top of the search engines. And you do not need to go to a huge advertising, expensive firm out there to achieve this placement. In most markets, the price to do this is only $5 per click. Setting up these campaigns is very easy, and it can be done by almost anyone with moderate computer skills and knowledge of common industry keywords and terms. Each of the following sites will have walkthrough guides and free phone support to help guide you through creating their campaigns. Now, Google represents better than 2/3 of all online search traffic out there, so it's a great place to start. Just simply go to adwords.google.com. Microsoft and Yahoo have formed Ad Center. Together, they're about 20% of the market out there of the search engines, and they have a similar style to AdWords. And the nice thing about them is if you have an AdWords account, you can import your campaign from Google straight into your Ad Center account. Facebook has a pay-per-click campaign. very similar. It's actually much cheaper per click. However, it's not based on keywords, rather it's based on demographics. And we've had good results with Facebook. And then, of course, with pay-per-click, the budgets are probably your most essential thing there. A lot of people will try to jump into pay-per-click and put a budget of $50 or $100. It's never going to work. You need a minimum monthly budget of $300. Most people advise you to put about $500 or more out there. The reason why is because the cost per click in most markets is around $5, like we said a moment ago. So if you have a $300 monthly budget, that breaks down to $10 a day or 2 clicks a day. It's very easy to exhaust that budget, but you can do it with a minimum of $300, and you should expect about 10% of your clicks to eventually turn into rentals, or in this case, 6 rentals for that $300 budget. Today, everyone should have a robust website. Now, the cost may be considerable, but typically you're going to receive huge returns. Websites should be used to supplement all forms of your advertising to expand on your messages and campaigns. What that means is if you're putting out print ads, flyers, you should be listing your website on there. It's a great way to supplement your message out there to get more information available on there without overloading your material. So they have a lot more uses out there for websites. Not having a website can be very detrimental to the company image. Imagine a person out there searching for 4A self-storage, not finding it, instead going to another competitor. And the other alternative is, what if they find the site and it's a sloppy old site that your brother put together for you, the images are poorly laid out, it can create the wrong impression for you and you can lose the rental. A robust website should have at a minimum professional looking photos, driving directions, details and features, and it should have a call to action to help entice that sale now. If you do not have a robust and up-to-date website, you really should make that your top priority. Take a look at the screenshot here of our 4A website. You're going to see good photos, good layout. It specifically tells you who we are and what we do, how to find us through the zip code lookup, and very important, it's got that call to action. So when the customer's on our website, we're trying to take advantage of their time there and trying to get that rental in. Last year, more than 59% of the consumers online paid their bills regularly online. These are conveniences that the consumers consider while they're shopping around, comparing you to other facilities. Online reservations allow you to capture the rental now while the consumer is on your website. A call to action helps you with this. You should have something similar, such as reserve online today and get your first month free. It gives them a reason to click and get the rental now rather than leave your website and continue shopping. If you're not able to offer this, you should consider outsourcing these to some of these companies right here. StorageRentPayment.com. All you need is a bank account and an email address, and you're able to offer online payments to your customers. SelfStorageAffiliates.com. That's our 4A affiliate website. If you go there, you'll see that there's plenty of options that we can help you out with as far as getting online payments and online reservations if you do not already offer it. And finally, you can choose from self-storage directories. Many of them have complete services that act as websites for you. And speaking of the lead generators, when customers go on to search engines and they search for self-storage, not all the results are going to lead only to your website. There's a ton of competitors out there. Lead generators are right there with them. Lead generators are online directories that list your facility with other facilities. You're typically grouped by territory, and most of the consumers are brought to their site through search engines. Here you're going to see some examples of companies that 4A has extensive experience with. U.S. Storage Search, great company. We've been doing business with them for years. StorageFront.com, another great company, great relationship with them. Sparefoot.com, highly recommended. And USSelfStorageLocator.com, great guys out there. They're relatively, I think they started last year, but a great company. Has some really good choices there. So why would you want to list in any of these online directories or lead generators? Well, first of all, typically it's a low-risk move because most of them are based on pay per performance. What that means is unless you get a rental, a verified rental, then you typically don't pay. And most of them give you the option to dispute if one didn't turn out despite the fact that you were billed for it. They're usually very easy to work with. You want to make sure, though, that you're not paying for a rental that you would have gotten without them. If you look up this company in a search engine and the only way that they can get you a customer is typically by sitting right next to you on a search engine, it's probably not your best interest to pay them because the customer would have possibly found you right there. But if they have other means, like sparefoot.com, for example, will bring people to you through various different traffic methods out there. It's a real good source for you. The cost for these, again, if they're pay-per rental, most of them are going to charge you $75 to $125 for a confirmed rental. Some of them are flat rate models. Sparefoot, I believe their rate is about $69 a month and sometimes a little less if you have a lot of stores. Real good opportunity with them. And the thing to consider when you're looking at that price, some of you may think that's a little high, but if you rent a unit, a typical unit will rent for about $80 a month, and the typical tenant will stay with you for about 10 months. And if you give a move-in discount at time of rental, that means at the end of that contract, you would have gained around $700. Okay? So if you're paying $75 to $125 for that rental, it's not something that you shouldn't consider doing to get a $700 return. Now, out of these means of online marketing, let's look at how they stack up. Here, we're going to go back to the Yellow Page listings. For 2011, for our company at 4A Self-Storage, which is about 50 facilities that we represent, we brought in 1,708 rentals attributed directly to the Yellow Page listings from various markets. The cost per acquisition there was $93. The online lead generators throughout 2011 brought in 588 rentals at $75 a rental. Our search engine marketing and pay-per-click campaigns, which we started doing a little bit more in the second half of the year, and only select number of our stores are participating, but it's going to be a big focus for us in 2012. We brought in 204 rentals at $51 a rental. And finally, our 4A company website was our best return here. You're going to see 2,700 rentals. It's more than all of those combined, the other three right there. And the cost per acquisition right there was just $5. So having a great company website that takes advantage of the online traffic and call to action will get you that return. And the thing to consider here, when we go back to those Yellow Page ads, when someone's advising you to get out of it, this is the reason why they're telling you to. $93 in acquisition when the pay-per-click campaign is bringing in about $50. You could conceivably get out of the Yellow Page ads and put your money onto online search engine marketing, and you can theoretically double your traffic for the same price. However, you need to be measuring your Yellow Page ads. Waving goodbye to 1,700 rentals is a really difficult decision to do. All right, do-it-yourself marketing for little to no cost. 4A has been in storage for nearly 40 years, and we've seen and done just about every means of marketing imaginable. Some things have worked, some haven't, but we track and measure everything we do, and we know when to end something that's not working. With that said, we're going to share with you some marketing tactics which we found to be very cost-effective. Local search results. These are known by several different names. Local Maps, Google Places. You can refer to them in a lot of different ways. Take a look at this screenshot here. Similar to the one we showed you earlier, if someone searches for self-storage in Atlanta, across the top and across the right side on this screenshot, you see the sponsored listings. Those are the ones that you're paying per click. Down at the bottom, you're seeing the organic listings start to come in. Okay? And those are the ones, like we mentioned, the SEO companies charging you about $500 a month to keep optimized. In the middle, right there prominently, you're seeing the local map, the local results. Okay? Those listings are free. They can be claimed by any brick-and-mortar business despite any outside marketing companies trying to solicit to you. And the thing to remember, if you don't claim them, local listings can reflect incorrect information. As the search companies are trying to fill the information about your business, they try to find the information through various different places throughout the internet. Sometimes they're putting old information, out-of-date information, or incomplete information. So you need to claim them, and we're going to show you how in just a second. The best way to start claiming your listings, I would advise, is getlisted.org. That's www.getlisted.org. They walk you through setting this up. It's as easy as it can be. Take a look at this screenshot right here. This shows you the result. When we went to getlisted.org, we typed in our facility address and our facility name, and it popped up with these results. It shows that 5 of those 6 listings right there are owner claimed, and they're authorized, meaning they're verified by those search listings to be claimed by the owner of the facility. And you'll see one in there that we haven't claimed, but sure, we'll get to that. So another place you can look at is google.com/places. Like we said, Google is a huge part of the online traffic. So you might as well start right there with their places. They have a great dashboard. You can go in there and take a look at their analytics. You can add coupons and deals, and everything that you add in there can easily be found through search results. So how effective are these local searches that we're talking about? Take a look at this screenshot. This is for the last quarter of 2011 at our 22nd Street in Virginia location. You're going to see this is direct call volume. Like we said, every marketing that we put out there, we track. Okay, so in this situation, our 4A website generated 121 phone calls for us. That same time frame, Google Local, which is free, generated 118 phone calls for us. And then by comparison, there's the Yellow Pages, bringing in 41 phone calls. Google Local's nearly triple that of the Yellow Pages. And keep in mind, for the Hampton Roads location, we have a huge phone directory, phone listing. It's a double truck ad, full color, prominently placed. This is not just a small little listing. That's a huge listing on there. And Google Local, which costs nothing, is bringing in nearly triple the traffic. Social media is very effective when used to promote your business name, much like networking. However, expecting instant returns, instant rentals directly from social media is going to lead to disappointment. We recommend to get started with social media, jump out there to socialfresh.com. They have some great helpful guides on how to get started using social media for businesses. Very easy. And if you need help also, you can call us at 4A. Facebook has over 800 million users. You cannot afford to ignore this platform. Google+, it's a relatively new entry into social media, but it's owned and operated by Google, so it bears watching. They are integrating everything that happens with Google+ directly into their search results, and so if you're considering doing social media, you really need to consider Google+. Twitter and LinkedIn are two other popular services. There's tons of them out there, but this is very important to remember. It is better to not be on a social media platform at all than to be online and not have it updated and relevant. Don't blast your friends and fans with move-in specials. That is not recommended. And if you do not have the time to allocate time or resources to allocate to this, you might want to consider outsourcing these services to an affiliate-style program. For example, at 4A, we'll assign a marketing mentor to each affiliate account, and we're going to help you guide your managers through the process and provide accountability. The reputation management helps you tie in the local results, the local search result activities and the social media activities. It monitors your brand name out there. And if somebody types in a negative feedback, somebody gives you a negative rating, it allows you to watch for that, and it alerts you, and you can respond quickly because that's very important. If somebody gives you negative feedback, you need to jump right on that. Feedback ratings are figuring prominently into search results now. To get started, just simply go to google.com/alerts, set up your alerts. It's very easy to do this yourself, but if you need assistance where you don't have the resources to complete this on your own, this can also be outsourced. Referral programs. Most businesses should receive 10 to 20% of their business directly from referrals. What type of referral programs should you offer? At 4A, we offer tenant referrals, which are current tenants. We're offering them rewards for referring their friends and family. We have a referral program for local center of influences. These are establishments like apartment complexes and moving companies. And then we also have a referral program for business-to-business networking. This is essential for cross-promoting services. What should you offer on your referral programs? At 4A, we offer $25 referral fees or gift cards. Remember, if your typical rental is valued at $700, $25 should be nothing for you, and it's very conceivable to offer more. I've seen companies out there offering $50 to $100 for referrals. If you're getting the length of stay, if you're taking a look at that, monitoring it, if your length of stay is there, you should be paying more for referrals. Use your social media to promote your referral programs. And promote your referral programs on your receipts, on your email signatures, on your social media, like we said, using your welcome letters, on the walls and doors of your facility, on your business cards, and on newsletters. At 4A, we strongly recommend community events and fundraisers. These are great ways to bring large amounts of foot traffic to your site while being a positive influence in the local community. Ask yourself, what are you, your manager, or your community passionate about? Reach out to organizations to see how you can raise awareness or funds at your site. A great site to check out is stayclassy.org. You can get ideas and contact information there for nonprofit organizations, and you'll find some great ideas there. Plan the event out and determine the cost and supplies that you'll need. Now, very important, you should consider co-sponsoring the event with several local businesses around you. This will help get your costs down to zero. If you need food for the event, find a local restaurant that's willing to donate, and you co-sponsor the event that way. And it's a great way to build networking opportunities with your neighboring businesses. We can go on about community events. It's a great platform, but with time constraints we can't. And we may consider a webinar in the future on this. If you ever want to talk about community events, shoot us an email or give us a call. Email marketing is a great and easy way to stay in touch with your current tenants and promote your business to new ones. We recommend sending monthly newsletters to your existing tenants, promote your community events, your referral programs, remind your customers about auto payments to avoid late fees. Stay in contact with the people that express interest in your auctions and community events. Those are easy lists to build because the people are in your store already, and just keep in touch with them for future ones. Build your prospect lists through your social media and your company website. And finally, cross-promote with your social media to get the most out of your campaigns. The biggest question everyone's going to ask is, where do you get your list to do email marketing? But you can buy your lists. That can be very it can be costly and it can be concerning. You want to be conforming with the anti-spam laws out there. We have some tips for you here. First of all, to market to your current tenants, very easy. Just export your tenant directories. You're most likely getting their email addresses right now anyway. And most major rental programs such as SiteLink, which is who 4A uses, these programs will support this feature to export. For your prospect list, you have to make them manually through the service you choose, and you continually add to this list. It may take a little time to build that list, but it will pay huge dividends. And connect your service with your social media. It will build the list for you from your fans, from your friends, and those that like your pages. Another question they're going to have is, what are the costs? Well, at 4A, we use MailChimp, MailChimp.com. It's a great service. It offers a free platform that enables your store to send newsletters up to 2,000 subscribers and up to 12,000 emails a month. It's completely free, great platform, great people to work with out there. ConstantContact.com is another great platform to choose. They got a 60-day free trial. In both of these services, if you want the paid platforms, they just start at $10 a month. A typical platform may cost $20, $30 a month. These are very low cost for the service that they provide. So why shouldn't you just send the emails out through Outlook yourself? Well, using the services like we just mentioned, they allow you to conform with the anti-spam laws. You don't want to get blacklisted out there. You don't want to get your name out there soiled, and you don't want to get fines, heavy fines out there for breaking spam laws. And also, these services will automate most of the work for you. When someone opts out, the service will take it straight out of the list, and you don't have to worry about it again. To get started with either one of them, just visit their website. Great tutorials, great walkthrough guides, and they have live chat and live phone calls that will help you right through it. Finally, two other things to remember about marketing. First of all, at 4A, we have a saying, what gets measured gets done better. We stand by that. Every campaign that we go out there and put effort into, we're going to track the results. We put a tracking number on there. And if you want to add a tracking number, the cost is usually less than $10 a month. It's extremely cheap. And ifbyphone.com is a great place to go jump right out there and try it out at. And think back to the Yellow Pages. When someone's telling you to get out of the phone book, how do you know how many calls you're getting from them? If you're not tracking the results, you don't know when to get out of that campaign. Track them, and you'll know. And the last thing I'll leave you with there is your management software program. In order to really know what's working for you, you need a program that can tie it together. We use SiteLink, great report functions right there. They'll tell you how your marketing's working for you. They'll tell you where your sources are coming from, your length of stay. And the other thing about that is you need a good program that's going to be able to connect to your website so that you can offer those online payments, but also extremely important, offer your real-time reservations. It enables to capture the visitor right then and there and go ahead and capture that lead and book them in there. With that, I will turn the rest of the presentation over to Tom.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, as I said earlier, folks, the large operators are very effective at controlling expenses because they are able to obtain volume purchasing discounts from their vendors of the goods and services that they purchase. So what do we do? What does the independent guy do? Well, I have some great news for you on that. And it's really, it's been very recent, but in the last 2 or 3 years, literally that recently, there's been an advent of a number of these buyers clubs. Some call them buyers clubs, buyers alliances. We call ours an affiliate program. But they all work similarly in that basically we're pooling our resources together under a common umbrella to buy all manner of goods and services at substantial discounts. These are pretty much all membership clubs, but they're very cheap. In fact, some of them are free to join. Some of them have a nominal annual subscription fee. And also some of the, as we'll see in a moment, some of these clubs also offer add-on services. It's not just about a buyer's club. If you go to the next slide, we'll look at some of the savings that can be generated by a typical membership. What we did here is we took a couple of our sort of medium-sized facilities that would be, say, about 400 units or so, and looked at what they were spending on these items before when we first took them over and they joined the club and then after. As you can see, under locks, boxes, and other POS, for example, if you're spending $3,000 a year, we should be able to save you 10 to 15% on that, which is about equivalent of about $500 a year. And that range of 10 to 20% savings will hold true across most of the vendors that we do business with. Continuing on down the list, I know you all take credit cards. Anybody that doesn't take credit cards these days is kind of out of it. But the downside to credit card processing is the processing fees. They just go up every year, and of course the use of the cards goes up. But on our typical facility in our portfolio, we spend about $6,000 a year on credit card fees. Or someone that spends that much, if they joined us, we could save them as much as $700 or $800 a year. Those fees are negotiated. And just to give you an example, we happen to be one of the top 10 accounts with the largest payment processor in our industry. We're a $10 million a year processing account. So you can imagine that we can obtain a much discounted processing fee from a guy who's got a couple of facilities. Same thing with property insurance. We're a $100 million plus account and we bid it out every year to the various insurance companies. And again, we can save our owners as much as $1,000, or based on if you have a large facility, it's more than that. If you sort of tally all these up for a medium-sized facility, we should be able to save our affiliates on average $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a year. Again, if you have a large facility, it's going to be substantially more than that. If you have a very small facility, it would obviously be less than that, but it's always substantial. Okay, another tactic that we use, we're in a recession after all, and our occupancies, we don't have a magic bullet. Our occupancies are off just like everybody else's. So what we've done in the last several years is work particularly hard at producing new and additional revenue streams. And believe me, we've tried it all. We've tried cell towers. I mean, if you can get one, they work great. We've done consignment shops, wine lockers, you name it, and some of them work. Some of them don't work at all. Some of them work some of the time if you're in a specific market. And so we've kind of come full circle after trying a bunch of different things. And we really now just focus on the three main types of additional revenue generators: merchandise sales, tenant insurance, and truck rentals. So let's just take a second to talk about each. I know these may not be new to you, but I want to at least give you my slant on it. POS, moving supplies, merchandise sales. It's easy money. On an average site, we have some sites that sell as much as a couple of thousand or $3,000 a month. But on an average site where you're selling about $400 a month, your cost should be about half that. This should be not quite a double when you mark it up. So that would generate an average site profit of about $166 a month on an average site. And again, multiply it out. $1,900, $2,000 a year. Worth doing because it's really not that much trouble. Additionally, these, when you sell POS, it as you're probably aware, it increases the foot traffic to your site, which in turn increases the awareness of your site, which is all a plus for you in terms of generating rental business. And of course, we give our managers a cut of the POS that they sell, and so it's great for manager morale. It's another way to get a little money to them without it coming right out of the payroll expense. Okay, the next one I wanted to talk about is tenant insurance. And tenant insurance has been around for a long, long time, but it has just exploded in the last, I'd say, 3-4 years. And I'd have to say that at the tip of the spear on the explosion of it are the REITs, the big public operators. They require it now. You probably heard that. All the big operators require this stuff of every tenant that rents from them, which is wonderful because it's given the independents the cover to do the same thing. At Nicholson, in 4A, we went mandatory. We were already in a program, and then we went mandatory about 1.5 years ago, and it's been a great thing for us. And for our owners. If you look at the table on the screen, there are 2 key elements that you want to know about if you're considering this a program like this. The first is the commission split. That is the split that the offerer of the program gives to the owner. And those splits vary depending on the size of the facility and the penetration of the customer base, anywhere from about 20%. I've heard some go as high as even 50% for a real lucrative account. If you've got a very large facility or a portfolio of facilities, you may be able to command a split as high as 50%. But I think the going rate in general is probably about 25 or 30%. The other key element, and in fact, to be honest with you, this is more important even than the split, is the program itself. How good is it? How good is the support? And what kind of penetration can you expect with that particular program? When I say penetration, that's industry terminology for customer participation. Because if you're getting a high split, it doesn't matter if you've got 10% of your customers on it. The key is to get your customers on this stuff. And our portfolio right now, we are approaching 70% penetration. But let's be a little bit more conservative and look at the 60% bar on the chart. At a 60% penetration on a facility with 450 units, and we're assuming for this model all $9 policies, which is the cheapest policy, that generates almost $600 a month to the facility owner on about a 30% average commission split. That's not bad money, folks. That's over $7,000 a year from this program. And that's at a 60%. If you can get higher, you can make even more. So it's something to consider. And there are a couple of other significant benefits to programs like this. One of them is it's a wonderful risk management tool. Picture your manager, one of your customers has had a claim. He's standing eyeball to eyeball with the manager looking at him across the counter. And in one scenario, there's no insurance, and in the other one, the customer has the customer goods insurance. It really is a pressure reliever, and in fact can be a deterrent to, obviously, to in some instances, to even customer lawsuits. So it's a wonderful risk management tool. And at 4A, we also give our managers a cut of the pie also. We want to incentivize them to sell this stuff. And so again, it's another wonderful morale booster for your managers because they get thrown some money their way as well. Okay, the third one I wanted to talk about is rental trucks. But before I get into rental trucks, it's worthy to at least mention courtesy trucks. They are not a revenue generator, but they are a wonderful thing to have when you're trying to attract customers. They're a fabulous moving billboard. It doesn't matter whether you own the truck or you lease the truck from someone like On the Move. Either way, they allow you to paint your graphics all over the side of the truck. And this one, you see it in the slide there. We have them the same way, just beautifully done, and they drive all over town advertising your facility to the public. Secondly, they are a great alternative to costly move-in specials. You give the free truck with a use with each new rental, and you're set. And what we are finding and have found, we've got, I don't know, I guess probably 15 or 20 facilities that have these, is that almost half of our customers use them and or cite that as a reason for renting from us. So they're very, very popular with the customers. The disadvantages are they are pretty costly. You can, if you either buy the truck or if you lease it, the insurance is also a factor. It's a cost factor. And like I said at the outset, they don't provide any direct revenue. They're just there for the convenience of the customers. Okay, on to rental trucks. We call rental trucks over here as, we call that pulling out the atomic bomb. And we say that because they have some very good and bad news. They're wonderful at generating traffic to the site. A good site with good rental program just generates all kinds of action and all kinds of awareness. They're also extremely disruptive. And they produce some good facility revenue. We'll look at a slide in just a second on that. The disadvantages are, as I said, it's disruptive. There are tremendous distractions for the manager. And depending on how you compensate the manager for it, they can be a detriment to his morale because it's a lot of work. The managers have to, deal with those trucks, checking them in and out, inspecting them, dealing with the customers. It's a lot of work for them. And the other distraction or other disadvantage, I should say, is that they are obviously detrimental to site appearance. That may not matter if you've got a first-generation older facility, but if you've got a brand-new state-of-the-art facility that you spend a ton of money on, you're going to want to give some serious thought as to whether or not you want to have a fleet of beaten-up rental trucks sitting around it. So it's something to consider, and like I said, it's kind of like the atomic bomb. They have some great benefits, but you have to look at all sides of it. In terms of the actual income analysis, and again, looking at our portfolio, we have about, 20 facilities that have rental truck operations. The average monthly sales volume is about $2,500. Again, some of them are much higher than that. I think we've got some that get as high as $8,000 or $10,000 a month, but the average is about $2,500, generating an average site commission to the owner of about $430. And again, multiplied out, it's about a little over $5,000. Now, you look at all these things and you say, okay, well, kind of a lot of trouble here and there. But look, if you do them all, add them all up, they add a lot to the bottom line. If you look at the next slide here, and you can see the top line, of course, is the savings you generated through one of these affiliate-type groups. They can save you some money. Then you get into a POS program, do a good quality tenant insurance program, do your truck rentals, and on an average facility, you should add somewhere around $20,000 to your bottom line, right to the bottom line. Okay? If you're a bigger facility, the number could be far greater. But here's where it really gets interesting. Everybody sells someday. We'll all sell, and when you sell, the way self-storage is priced, as you may be aware, these are all income properties. And as such, the way a buyer prices a facility is they look at the net operating income, and then they apply a capitalization rate to it. So if you have added $20,927 to your bottom line, to your NOI, and cap rates, they move all around, but an average one the last, say, 10 years or so would be maybe, let's say, 8%. You apply an 8% cap rate to that almost $21,000 you've added to your bottom line, and you have just created $261,000 in real value that will come right to the closing table when you sell your facility. So believe me, these things may seem like small potatoes in terms of individual line items, but they add up, and particularly in today's market, you need to be doing all of them. Okay, the final topic for today is hiring and maintaining an effective management staff. And I will tell you that right up front that if we had more time, I could devote an entire seminar to this topic. So we're not going to be able to go into great detail today. But I did want to transmit a few thoughts to you about this particular subject. First of all, after your location is still number one. Nothing is going to trump that. But next to location, your manager is your most important resource. And if there's any doubt in your mind, consider the following. First of all, your manager is your primary facility salesperson. And when I say salesperson, I'm not talking about just rentals. That's certainly a big part of it. But I'm talking about all this other stuff that I've just talked about, all these additional sources of revenue, the rental trucks and those tenant insurance programs. If you've got a manager that says, oh, nobody wants that tenant insurance, that stuff isn't going to sell. Or, I don't want to fool those rental trucks. I'd rather have them sit on the lot. You're not going to be anywhere, okay? So very important to have a good manager. Your manager's in charge of your customer service. You get a surly manager, what's that going to do for you? They're in charge of collecting the money. They are bringing the money in the door. They're coordinating the maintenance on the sites. And if I could see you guys and ask for a show of hands, an honest show of hands, I would bet you that if I asked you how many of you let your managers set your rates and determine how much discounting to do, or at the very least recommend those two items to you, I bet I'd see quite a few hands out there. So you add all these things up, and there's no question that your manager is the most important thing out there. Now, the problem is this. Once again, the large operators. The large operators have robust career websites. They don't run an ad in the paper. They got people applying all the time for to their career web page. They've got training programs out the yin-yang. So what is the model that the independent operator must follow to combat this? Well, the model for years has been what we call the good old do-it-yourself model. It's done in-house. Now, look, I know a lot of the owners out here, and I see them all the time, and many of you are dedicated, knowledgeable guys. You go to the shows, you attend the seminars, you stay current, and you're willing to roll your sleeves up and get in there right beside your managers and get things done. But on the other hand, I've also seen many facilities where the owners largely put the manager in place, give them some training, and then kind of let them run with it. And it's in today's competitive market, I'm not sure that's a viable approach. But either way, hopefully if you're going to do it yourself, here's a couple of things I want you to think about. How are you compensating your managers? Specifically, what sort of bonus program are they on? Is your site occupancy driven? Okay, and if you're going around saying, oh yeah, well, I don't know, I need to do all this ancillary profit centers and all this tenant insurance and everything, I'm 92% occupied. I'm going to tell you something. The REITs and the big operators left the occupancy-driven model a decade ago. You are 10 years behind if you're talking like that. It's an income model. It's all about income. If you're higher than 90% occupancy, you are leaving money, perhaps substantial money, on the table. You need to rethink that. How do you evaluate your manager performance? Facility performance. Do you separate the two and measure them separately? Today's facilities need to be run by the numbers. That's why Scott, at the conclusion of his segment, he talked about some of the softwares that are out there. If you don't have a good software that gives you good, hard, empirical data in a number of areas, not just occupancy, but a number of areas, then you need to think about upgrading your software. Do you document and hold your managers accountable? Are you prepared to terminate if it becomes necessary? The reality is, folks, that this is a high turnover industry. And so I would ask you the question, is your long-term manager really that fabulous? Or are you really accepting the less than the best because you dread the idea of going through another hiring and training process? Now, why do we do it this way? Because it's cheap. It's a very inexpensive option, the old do-it-yourself way. But I'm going to give you a couple of other ideas that you might consider. One of them is what I call piecemeal outsourcing. Recruiting agencies are available to help you with your hiring. You can send your managers to the trade shows. There's wonderful conferences that are put on every year where they can learn a lot. Once your managers get back behind the counter, you can hire third-party mystery shops, and they'll check their phone skills. If you really want to pull them out of the phone equation, you can hire a full-time or part-time call center. There are third-party resource libraries like www.selfstorage.education.com that they can access also. The only downside to this, what I call piecemeal outsourcing approach, is you're buying these services from a bunch of different vendors, and it can get very expensive, okay? But it is something to consider. The next approach is full-service management companies. Obviously, they've been around a long time. We're one. They offer truly full-service services, meaning everything under the sun. Marketing is handled, all that stuff Scott's talking about, and then some is handled through the internet of any of the good companies. Hiring, training is covered. The larger management companies have human resources departments. You get operational oversight, and even your bills are paid. And once again, there is a rub, and here it is. The rub with the management companies is they all charge 5 or 6%, and most of them have a $1,500 to $2,000 monthly minimum. So if your site isn't producing, let's just say, around $30,000 a month gross, it's probably not going to be a good fit for you or the management company. It's going to be a struggle to make the numbers work. Okay, so if you're in a smaller facility, the full service management option may not be a viable one for you. Now, the last option I'm going to tell you, though, might be, and this is the silver bullet perhaps, and that is circling back to these affiliate-style programs, buyers clubs, what have you. They do a lot of the same things that the management companies do, and they offer all these same resources for hiring and training and manager evaluations, facility evaluations, audits, internet support, and website sharing. All those things are available from some. Not all of the buyers clubs and programs offer all these things, but there are some of them that offer it. And the advantage to it is if you can go to one source for all this stuff, it's typically quite a bit cheaper than going and parceling it out and going to a bunch of different people to get it. So seriously consider the affiliate-style programs if you need any of those services. Okay, so let's sum it up. Pulling it all together here, as I've said earlier, the REITs, the large operators, they've got high-powered internet presence. They've got sophisticated marketing. They've got volume discounted expenses, and they've got trained management staff. They seem to, at first glance, have all the advantages. But if you walk away from this webinar, I want you to walk away with this. I hope you've seen that you're capable of engaging in smart, cost-effective local marketing. You saw how Scott showed you how to grab the Google local spot. Really very easy to do. And at the same time, 10 years ago, there was no feasible way for the average independent to track the results. Those RCF phone numbers now that are now $10 a month used to be completely unaffordable. But for $10 a month now, you should be tracking every campaign you do. Insert one of those numbers in every single campaign and measure your results. You should be enhancing your revenues with these additional profit centers. And finally, consider partnering up with an outsourced third-party firm to share internet access and visibility, buy discounted goods and services, and get the training and hiring support that you guys need. Okay, with that, I think we're going to have a brief Q&A here, and I thank you all for attending our seminar. I'll turn it back over to the moderator.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. I've got some information up here on the screen. I will flip back to this just briefly in case you guys want to capture any of that information. We've just had a fantastic presentation on behalf of 4A, and you may have questions that you want to discuss with them directly, and so we've got some contact information for you up on the screen before we dive into the Q&A portion of the program. Some ways you can reach both Tom and Scott and visit the company websites directly. And we'll provide this information to you again later, so if you didn't capture it this time, we'll come back. So now we're getting ready to move into the questions and answers portion of the program. Some of you have already begun submitting questions through the Q&A tool, and that's great. It's not too late, however. You can still submit your questions at this time using the Q&A feature on your screen. Again, if we do run out of time today and we don't get to all of your questions, you can feel free to email them to us later on at webinars@vpico.com, and we'll forward them on to our presenters for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in, guys, with our first question here. And this one comes from Dale, and the question is the call center fee in-house or is it outsourced?
Hi, Dale. Yeah, that's a good question. It's an outsource. We don't actually do the call center ourselves. The price, the discount that you saw on there, the company that we partner up with there is XPS. Great company, great people to work with, and they offer the affiliate program with us a pretty good discount. And I know through some of the other guys, some of the other network programs out there, they also participate in as well.
Okay, great. Your next question comes from Heather. She asks, what Facebook settings would you recommend? And should the manager have a separate page from the facility?
Facebook would be a pretty tough one to cover all the way through, but I would say this much. A lot of managers out there make a huge mistake by jumping into Facebook and just creating a manager page as the facility. if a customer is trying to search for you, it's not going to pull up correctly. The way Facebook recommends it and the way their software is written is so that you'll have a business page representing your facility, and then you'll have a manager page that administers the account. So you really need to have two accounts there, one that the manager operates himself and one that represents the facility itself.
Okay. We have a question from George coming back around to the insurance issue. He'd like to know if 4A is making the insurance mandatory or is it optional?
At 4A, for our managed sites, we have gone pretty much mandatory. At our 50 sites, there's a select few that are not mandatory, but we've gone mandatory at the vast majority of our sites. For our affiliates, anybody that wants to participate with our protection plan, it's completely up to them. If they want to go mandatory, usually we recommend jumping into it slowly, getting the managers completely trained on it. But you can go mandatory, you can go optional. The industry standard out there is going mandatory, though. The big companies like Extra Space and CubeSmart and all those, they all go mandatory. So there's really no reason why the independent operators shouldn't be considering it too.
Okay, great. The next question we have for you is you mentioned an affiliate program. Can you tell me a little bit more about what the offerings are?
Well, I mean, for ours, I can only tell you about ours, but I would recommend going to our website, selfstorageaffiliates.com, and it'll give real good details there. But I can tell you, like Tom was kind of explaining, the affiliate program takes a lot of the services that normally is only reserved for management accounts, and we kind of piecemeal it out there. And you can pick and choose if you need help with marketing, if you need help with tenant insurance, if you need help with careers and hiring and training managers, we can do all of that. The good thing is that you get to choose which ones that you want to participate in. And, of course, the volume buying is probably the most popular topic out there.
Okay. Carol is curious to know how much you charge for your marketing program.
Our marketing program, now the thing to remember here is we don't actually do the marketing for you. We train your managers on how to do it. We give you all the resources that you need to do it. It starts at $80 a month per facility. It decreases on that monthly price based on if you do other services with us too. So we try to give you some price breaks. But it's a great platform in order to give your managers everything that you need for your local marketing, your social marketing. We provide a manager mentor that will help train and guide your manager along. And we're also going to be participating, offering monthly webinars that here this summer the affiliates will be able to join in there also that are participating in our marketing module.
Okay. We're just about out of time, so I'm going to give you one last question, and then unfortunately we're going to need to wrap up. Jason said he noticed your 4A Careers website, and he wants to know if anyone can list their job openings there.
Yeah, any affiliate. All you got to do is join. There's no fee to join, and if you have an opening that you want to post on there, we'll get it on there for you. We get, I think it was about 4,000 people looking for jobs on our 4A website last year. So it's a great resource, and give it a try. If you want to talk more about it, just shoot us an email.
Okay. Do you have any closing comments or final pieces of advice for our audience before we wrap up the webinar today?
I'd like to thank everybody. We had a great time. I think the content was enjoyable putting it together. And I would really appreciate any feedback. Anybody that wants to reach out to me or Tom, send us an email, give us a call. We'll be glad to talk about any of it. This is all stuff that we're very enthusiastic about. And so far, the reception to our affiliate program has been fantastic. And every other network program out there, the SBOA, Storage Network, all of those guys, they all say the same thing. People are loving it. The smaller independent operators are having a great time. So we'd enjoy any feedback, any communication that you want to engage in.
Excellent. Well, Scott, thank you so much for the wonderful presentation provided by you and Tom today. We've had some questions about people's ability to download a PDF of the presentation, and all of our registrants can do that using the PDF download tool they see on their screen. So also, you can register for future events and view the archive of today's webinar and other ISS webinars at InsideSelfStorage.com. So I want to thank you all so much for participating in today's event. We're really glad you were able to join us. We hope to see you at a future Inside Self Storage webinar event. Thank you.